fails to hold a leader accountable, the message to the world is that institutions bend to strongmen. This is the moment we are in. Not just a presidency in jeopardy, but the credibility of a system that has held for centuries. The House vote is done, the clock is running, and the outcome remains uncertain. Are we watching the collapse of the oldest modern democracy, or the moment it proves it can still save itself? Right now, the answer is not yet written. Attractive because it narrows the battlefield, trading one overwhelming front for several manageable ones. This crisis is being watched globally. Allies are questioning America's reliability, while adversaries see opportunity in the distraction. Markets are showing volatility as confidence in American stability is tested. If the system fiction and receive a federal pardon, this mirrors the 1974 Nixon-Ford deal. Even if Trump avoids federal conviction, his legal exposure remains. State-level prosecutions in New York and Georgia are outside the reach of a presidential pardon. These cases move slowly but relentlessly. Resignation might become a trap, leaked communications, or a whistleblower. Republican senators find self-preservation and abandon him. The third scenario is a full-blown constitutional crisis. Trump is convicted and removed but refuses to leave. He declares the result rigged. The terrifying question becomes, who enforces the removal? The Secret Service? The military? The final scenario is the backroom exit. Senior leaders offer Trump a deal. Resign voluntarily to avoid conviction. Closed-door session to discuss contingency. What happens if evidence emerges that cannot be contained? Strategy rooms are mapping 4 scenarios. In the first, Trump survives. The Senate acquits him, and he emerges empowered, viewing survival as proof of invincibility. This establishes a precedent that accountability is optional as long as your party holds enough seats. In the second scenario, Trump falls. Denial-breaking evidence surfaces leak. On one side is the establishment wing figures who tolerated Trump for power but still believe in institutions. Their fear is irrelevance. On the other side is the MAGA core lawmakers whose identities are inseparable from Trump. For them, loyalty is existential. Breaking with him means political extinction. Behind the scenes, money is moving. Major donor networks have gone quiet, a warning that patience is wearing thin. Multiple sources confirm that Republican senators met in a closed weapon is the 14th Amendment, Section 3, the Insurrection Clause. It states that anyone engaged in insurrection is disqualified from federal office. This is the nuclear option because it is self-executing and bypasses the familiar rituals of a Senate trial. Using it would escalate the crisis into constitutional warfare. Underneath the surface, this is a fight for the future of the Republican Party. The GOP is split into 2 irreconcilable camps. At least 16 Republicans must defect. Historically, party loyalty has proven stronger than constitutional duty. The second weapon is the 25th Amendment. If the vice president and a majority of the cabinet declare the president unable to discharge duties, power transfers. However, the president can contest this, requiring a 2/3 vote in both chambers to keep him removed. This relies on the president's own appointees, making it a theoretical rather than practical option. The third way, electoral math, donor math. Power is being measured in margins, not morals. To understand how this crisis can end, you have to focus on mechanics. Power moves through systems, and the Constitution provides only a few ways to stop a sitting president. Right now, 3 weapons are on the table. First is impeachment. This step has been taken, but impeachment is not removal, it is an indictment. Removal requires 67 senators. Democrats fall far short, meaning at least conspiracy. Every investigation becomes validation. The political calculus is inverted. Republican leaders are not asking whether Trump is legally vulnerable, they are asking whether opposing him is survivable. The risk is no longer just losing a primary, it is triggering a civil war inside the party. The next phase begins with math. Senate math in real time. Social media changes the rules of accountability. It collapses distance and bypasses institutions. Nixon's support eroded quietly, then suddenly. Trump's support hardens under pressure. Every accusation becomes proof of rooms without cameras. Silence in this context is a holding pattern, while the balance of risk is recalculated. Many commentators are already reaching for the Nixon comparison, but that analogy breaks down almost immediately. Nixon faced a hostile press, a hostile Congress, and eventually a hostile party. Trump faces something far more unstable, a party split between fear of him and fear of surviving him. Nixon never had the ability to speak directly to a mass audience of victimhood. The vote did not end anything. It started something far more dangerous. From this point forward, the system either proves it can still enforce its own limits, or it exposes in real time that those limits no longer hold. If you are waiting for Republican leadership to clearly defend Trump or clearly abandon him, you will be waiting longer than you expect. That delay is strategy. In moments of real political danger, power does not rush to microphones. It retreats into rooms finalized, and private conversations, ones the public will never hear, are already shaping what comes next. This moment feels familiar only if you misunderstand it. This is not 2019, this is not 2021, and it is not Watergate. Trump enters this crisis armed with something Nixon never had: a mass political movement, instant communication with tens of millions of followers, and a personal identity fused to the idea of leadership. No immediate statements, no press conferences, no unified talking points. In Washington, silence during a crisis is never accidental. It is calculation. It means power brokers are waiting to see which outcome becomes inevitable before choosing where to stand. Once impeachment passes, the House events begin to accelerate on their own. The next 72 hours are not procedural filler, they are a pressure chamber. Evidence is being organized, legal strategies are being carried out by enemies of the people. He made one thing unmistakably clear: he will not resign. Not now, not later, not under any circumstances. That defiance is not rhetorical flair, it is a strategic signal. Trump is telling Congress, the courts, and his base that he views this moment not as a legal reckoning but as a political war, and wars change how rules are followed. Even more revealing than Trump's reaction was the silence from Republicans. The House voted. It's how it happened. No landslide, no bipartisan wave, just a fractured chamber split down the middle, making a decision that cannot be walked back. This was not a symbolic rebuke. It was the ignition of a constitutional process that now moves on momentum, not intention. Within minutes of the gavel falling, Trump responded exactly as his advisors feared, and exactly as his instincts demanded. He denounced the vote as a hoax, a witch hunt, and an illegitimate act. This is not a drill. In the last 24 hours, a single vote inside the U.S. House of Representatives pushed American democracy into its most dangerous territory in generations. By a margin so thin, it almost defies belief. 218 to 217 Congress approved articles of impeachment against Donald Trump. One vote, one lawmaker, one decision separating constitutional order from something far more volatile. What matters is not just that